God, and my mic is all over the place. Wow, I'm having a day today. Okay, your weeknight, actually every night, savior. This is a miso, honey, gingery, garlicky chicken and rice situation that cooks all together in a pot. You want a dish where everything cooks at once. The rice gets crispy because you lift the lid at the last few minutes of cooking. The chicken skin is crispy and yet it's soft and everything's perfectly cooked and there is no mess, no fuss. And the bonus of this recipe, because I love a bonus, you don't actually want to marinate your chicken. Do not make this in advance. Do not think you've got to prep it in the morning. I mean, you can prep the marinade if you want to get ahead of yourself. It will take you 5 minutes to prep. But really, this is not something that you need to think about. This is something that has all your pantry staples and you think, oh my God, I need dinner, what am I making? This. So, for the chicken marinade, which we're going to start with, take it out of the fridge an hour before you want to cook it. It needs to come to room temperature for it to cook evenly. So while it's coming to room temperature, it can already be marinating, and that's a double whammy. Take 2 cloves of garlic, crush them with some salt, and all you're going to do is smush it in and do that very good trick with the edge of your knife where you crush it with the salt. So now I'm just going to bring it all together here. I call for a thumb-sized piece of ginger. I like it gingery, so I'm going to use about that much. And I'm just going to really microplane the hell out of this. That is a good amount of ginger there. Get this bit out, waste nothing. We're going to reserve some of the marinade ingredients for basting at the end. If you forget, don't worry, your chicken will still be crispy, but I love a little added zhuzh. So I've got 2 bowls going on here so I can measure them both at the same time. We are going to use 2 tablespoons of, and I just feel like it's easier to do it in a spoon, you can do it by weight if you want to, of white miso paste, and then I'm going to put a 3rd one in here for the baste. And then I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of honey. And again, you'll see I'm being very not exact with my pouring here. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of honey into the marinade, which we're going to reserve for later. Then we're going to add seasoned rice vinegar, which is something I really love. We're going to put a tablespoon in here and half a tablespoon in our marinade. A smidge of soy, and I'm going to put a tiny dribble of sesame oil in as well, just for a little flavour. See, it's all come together. Bits of garlic and ginger in there. Ah, I knew I was forgetting something. This is not an ad, this just happens to be my favourite chilli sauce. I like to add a hit of something hot. So I'm going to add just a little trickle of my favourite chilli oil. It doesn't make it spicy, it just makes it yummy. And I'm now going to chuck this chicken in. I'm going to give it a very good mix around in the marinade so it is fully coated and bedded in. Once it's had a good 45 minutes to an hour in here, out of the fridge, just covered, we'll sink it into the rice, put it in the oven, and dinner will be ready. This is forgot about my marinade. These are those marinade ingredients I set aside. Actually, I'm just going to use this spoon. I'm just going to give them a little mix around. I'm not shy to tell you that I've often left this and then forgotten to baste. So put it somewhere obvious, right next to your oven, right next to your pot holder. So when you lift off the pot holder, take the lid off, you remember, baste my chicken. To cook the rice, we are using what's called the absorption method, which means we're using 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. Use the same receptacle and double the amount of water, or like a tiny smidge less. But the first rule of rice is you've got to rinse it well. I'm using basmati rice here. Basmati rice gets this great crunch against the side of the dish when it cooks. So we're going to rinse this. We're not going to drizzle it under cold water. We're going to submerge it. We're going to get as much starch out as possible so that the absorption actually works. Right, my tap's had some surgery. Okay, we are rinsing this. That is not enough. We're going to go like this. Get in there, get all the starch out. And then also, don't take it over dripping wet because all that water will then formula part of the equation. You want to really tip as much of the water out, get it as dry as possible. Rice is rinsed, it's gonna sit for a minute. Now we're gonna get the flavors in here. I'm gonna add literally a teaspoon of sesame oil to my pan, and I'm gonna add in my aromatics. We literally want them to ever so slightly soften. They're gonna add a huge punch of flavor to the rice. We're not even gonna cook them. We definitely do not want the garlic to burn because that will ruin this. We're literally just gonna let them warm up. I know you can't, but I can smell these now, which means they're just about where I want them. The spring onions have just brightened in color. The garlic and ginger are really, you can smell them, right? They're ready. Can you see how green they are? That's what you want. You want your spring onions to be just like that. Rice is in. Okay, I'm gonna get 2 cups of water. Here goes 1. A little bit of rice vinegar, seasoned rice vinegar into the rice. A capful. Rice is ready. I'm gonna drop in the chicken, and I'm going to tuck in my thighs. Tuck them in. A little room around it gives room for crispy rice, so just bear that in mind. You do not want to layer them. I am not wasting any of this marinade either, obviously. Lid on, in the oven for 40 minutes. Then we're gonna take the lid off, and we're gonna baste the top of the chicken with the marinade. We're gonna leave it cooking with the lid off for another 20 minutes. Dinner served. Okay, the chicken has had 40 minutes. So we're just gonna baste it with a little bit of the, oh, that's quite a lot there, extra marinade that we had tucked in there on all the thighs. Lovely jubbly, it's gonna make it all sticky. Leave the lid off. Give it another 20 minutes. Okay guys, da, 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 da. Remember how anemic it looked? 20 minutes later, it's golden. 1 pot, miso, honey, chicken and rice. It is all cooked together, takes no time to assemble, no marinating time required, no long marinating time required. This has been my most successful recipe this year in this house. Hands down. I can't wait for you to make it. Now we're just gonna have to taste it. It is so good. The crispy rice around the edges and on top, the soft, perfectly cooked grains underneath the chicken thighs, the sweet, crispy skin of the chicken. It is everything you need in a dish. You've got the chicken, which is still bloody hot, but I am not waiting. The ginger and the miso, my hands are burning. Roof of my mouth is burning, but I am shoving this in quick as I can. So good. You see how hot it is? I'm not holding back. Once I've stopped chewing, I'm going to tell you that for more recipes like these, more one dish wonders, subscribe.